Hello, everybody. It's the Pearlo Wisdom Show. And we're going to go over all the games from, well, we can go over the games from last night too a little bit. See how we did. Until everybody in the land gets in here, we'll look at the scores from last night. So we had the Penguins for a little bit, but big bet was the over on the Penguin Senators game, and we got that all day. It was nice. It came down to 6 later in the day, and I nabbed it and hit that one well. I was up 10 units for the day yesterday. Put it just to say, I live bet the Islanders. That was silly. I also had the over. That was like my worst game, but I had the Avalanche for a bunch. I loved the Avs yesterday. It's just a great spot. They're on a heater. I don't trust the Flames worth a darn. Hey, how you doing, Caden? Weather Ontario, nice. I don't trust the Flames worth a darn. When they grabbed Huberdeau, I think there could be a problem there, and it looks like there is. The guy's just not very adaptable. He has one way that he wants to play. It was that way in Florida. I don't know if people didn't notice it. I guess if you watch like a divorce-worthy amount of hockey like I do, I noticed that Quenneville seemed to get frustrated with Huberdeau before he left, and then Bennett or Burnett, when he came in, he just didn't try. He just let Huberdeau do whatever the hell he wanted. And when it came playoff time, it became apparent that there was a problem there, man. And now he's butting heads with Sutter, and he's trying to adapt to a man-on-man system. And I think it's frustrating him. Yeah, he's not a guy that's used to doing that. Maybe he'll figure it out after a while, but I was pretty sure the Flames were going to struggle early. They're still in a playoff spot, and Markstrom could get better. That's another one with Markstrom, and I took a lot of flack for that with Markstrom. I find that Markstrom is best if you don't play him too often. And Sutter is pig-headed and wants to make him like the number one. I think he's best as a 1A. As soon as he starts playing the 4th or 5th games and stuff like that, on the road especially, things just seem to fall apart for Markstrom. It's been consistent. So I like the Avalanche. I liked, even with Makar, when Makar went down, I was like, oh no. But how often do you see like championship level teams when one of their big guys go down, they even play harder? Seemed to happen last night. I did lean the over on that game, but I never played it. And it didn't come in, so I'm glad. And the reason why I didn't play it is the Flames, that's the other thing with Sutter teams. They have a tendency to hold their stick like super tight. If you ever listen to Sutter, he'll say it over and over again. It's really hard to make the playoffs. It's hard to score in the NHL. He's just basically putting it in the heads of his players that's the case. It's not a good way. I don't think it's a good thing to sink into the minds of the people that are to the players that you're coaching. It happened in LA too. Last 2 years in LA, that team couldn't, maybe even 3. That team couldn't score with a hot damn. So, anyways, we had Avalanche on plus money and we nailed it. Lightning Canucks, we were all over this game. We had team total over for Lightning. We had team total over for Canucks too. That didn't hit. But we had the over and we had Lightning and Reg for a lot. Really brought up our units last night. That was the big one that brought up our units high. We had 5 units on the over, 3 units on the team total over, 3 units on in regulation. So, yeah, we hit well. As far as, I'll continue. I talked about Vancouver a little bit yesterday, but yeah, this team's going to get blown up all the crap. Rutherford has a vision for what a team should look like. He did it in Pittsburgh. He has a vision for what personalities he wants on his team. And since he's got the ball, I think you're going to see a lot of changes here. No, almost for sure Horvat is gone. I think Brock Besser is probably gone. Those two guys for sure. And they'll use those guys hopefully to build up a defense, and then they'll try to fill out their depth in their offense afterwards. But I honestly don't think this team needs to when I say blow it up, I don't mean like Rutherford will never do a tear down rebuild. I mean like completely change the complexion of this whole team. And I think those two guys are probably going to be the guys to go for sure. Other guys would go if they could, but Ekman, Larson, Myers, but I don't see anybody touching those guys, honestly. So that's going to be the two, I think, and we'll see what happens. Hey, Sports Entertainment, welcome. Good to see you, buddy. So, Stars versus Sharks. I live bet the Sharks in regulation after their first goal. And I shouldn't have, because my original lean on this game, the Stars have been playing like in different cities for like so long, and it was a tired spot for them and a look-ahead spot. I shouldn't have bet it, but I did have the over. So, and I had the over for quite a bit. Should have had it for more, actually. It was almost a guaranteed over. So, the Stars they need to get home and get some rest, and they can probably get back on a run again. The Sharks, they're gonna, if you're getting tired legs, the Sharks will outwork you. You got to say they're not a team that gets outworked too often. They have poor defense, and they may, structurally the team is not very good. But effort is not something that you're not going to get. Quinn has these guys putting out full effort every night. So if a team is getting tired or a little laxed, the Sharks will probably do what they did last night and come back on. And I kicked myself for putting that live bet in. Dallas just looked like they were owning it, and I thought that they would just be able to hold it off, but especially with Ottinger in that. So before I get in, because somebody's bound to ask me about the Provorov situation and what happened with that. And my answer to that is really simple. I'm for anyone exercising their expression of what they believe. I personally don't agree with what Provorov believes. I used to, though, at one time. I was a Bible teacher and stuff like that. But it has nothing to do with that. I am not against that. If you're going to have politics, which you do, if you have a national anthem, there's politics involved. If you're having military night, you are accepting politics into the sport of what you're doing. So since they do have these political and social, what's the word I'm looking for? It just escaped me. Social justice efforts and all of those sort of things like that. Since you have it, I believe personally the only way to do that properly is allow people to express themselves the way they want without hurting people in the sense of using hate and all that kind of stuff like that. What he did was not hateful. It may come off as hateful. Maybe it hurts your feelings. That's just because your feelings are hurt doesn't mean you're right. And just because I disagree with what Provorov believes in doesn't take away from the fact that I believe in what they did. Now, when you talk about Because the whole thing was Tortorella said that if anybody dropped a knee during the anthem, he would sit that player. See, I don't agree with that. I do agree with Tortorella saying that that Provorov exercised his ability to express himself in his belief. I agree with that. But if you agree, I also agree that if Tortorella is going to be that way, then he has to be that way. Whether just because he doesn't agree with it, freedom first. That is the only way we're going to come together as a group, as a community, as whatever you're going to do, and learn and grow, is if we have a voice. So that's all I got to say about that. Okay, let's look at the games today then. You guys can tell me what you guys think in the bottom there. You know how I am here. I don't care. You can say whatever you want. Try to be somewhat civil. Carolina versus Minnesota. Minnesota's been playing a crap load of games. It started out as 6, and I wish I would have got in it on 6 to get the under on that. But the only place you're going to find that is opening, and apparently that's a hard place for people to get in. This is Odd Shark, by the way. I still would lean the under here. Minnesota has been playing to the under like crazy. They've been playing a very defensive game. And I think with them being a little tired now, let's see, they've been playing a lot of games if I remember correctly. Minnesota. Okay, well, no, they played in Washington 2 days ago. So that's not that bad, but let's look back a little further. I know Carolina's had 3 days off now. Yeah, I thought they were playing tired. I guess they won't be terribly tired in this game. But Carolina at home is a very tough team. The only thing is, there's some injuries involved here with Carolina. Pacioretty is not going to be playing. That's one. He's already out after scoring like 3 goals in 4 games. He gets injured right away again. And I thought there was a center or something like that as well. Yes, that's right. There's, or is he back in? Oh, Jordan Staal is back in tonight, so they'll have Jordan Staal as well. And that's really the thing that leads me to Carolina here. Minnesota is not very strong up the middle, and you never want to be weak up the middle, do you? Never a good thing. So I don't think they match up well. That's what I'm trying to say against a Carolina team that has had rest. They kind of went through a shaky period here just recently too, and I think they want to get themselves back on track. But when you got Sam Steele as your number 1 center going against a guy like Aho, I think there could be some struggle here. Looking at the matchup, nobody's really owned anybody. This actually 7-3 to the over in this matchup. But that was a different Minnesota team. The Minnesota now they are really trying to do kind of like a trap almost. They're getting prepared for how it's going to be when they're playing in the playoffs. And that makes sense since they've lost in the first round most of the time. And a lot of that had to do with defensive issues. I really want to see who the goaltending is here for sure, too, before Minnesota are 1-4 straight up in their last 5 games when playing on the road against Carolina. So there is a trend advantage here for Carolina as well. As far as the under is concerned, Carolina has actually trended to the over 7 of the last 8 games. Probably because they were having goaltending issues there for a bit. So they tried to open it up a bit to have more chances. But against this Minnesota team, and I think I'm going to go with Carolina here. I kind of lean to the under, but I'm not really huge on the total. Carolina, okay, they won. They lost 4 in a row. They beat Columbus and Pittsburgh, who aren't even very good right now. And then Vancouver at the end of their own road trip that they lost. I mean, it's been shaky. And they have been allowing goals. Now, Anderson will be in tonight. Part of the reason why they've been allowing goals is they haven't had Anderson. And since I think Anderson's first came back, they won. I believe that was against Pittsburgh. And so I'm going to lean Carolina. I think I'll put some on Carolina today. Slightly to the under. Anaheim, Columbus. Have fun with this one. 2 bottom-dwelling teams. These guys, both of these teams are at the bottom of expected goals for. They're both on the bottom of the league for expected goals against, shots for, everything. Like this, both of these teams are really not very good. Usually in these cases, when you get young teams that go up against each other, they like to skate. They like to skate and play fast against each other, and there's not much defense being played. So the total has gone over in Anaheim's last 6 games. Problem is both teams haven't been very good, are not very good at scoring as well as their defense. However, you put those 2 things together, 2 really bad defenses and 2 teams struggling scoring, they're probably going to go at each other, and I could see this being an over. As far as the side is concerned, Anaheim is 6-1 straight up in their last 7 games against Columbus. So they do have that. Columbus is at home. I don't know. I might even think of a draw here. Like, does either team even want to win this game? Really? The total's 6.5. That's high. I thought it was a 6. I like it better at 6, but 6.5. Gibson should be in net for Anaheim. And I imagine it'll be Merzlikins. Could be Korpisalo. Tough game to cap, honestly. Tough game to cap. They just played Nashville in Nashville. They came home. They lost 3-1 in New York, 2-1 in Nashville. Like I said, they got 1 goal in their last 2 games. Playing against Detroit, they scored. Maybe we can get something here. Let's look at like bad teams that they played against and what they've done. Didn't score all against Ottawa. Ottawa's got one of the worst goaltenders in the league. Did score against Chicago. That's something I like to do. I like to go back and look at the history of try to find some bad teams. Philadelphia, they scored. See, Philadelphia, they played 5-3. December 20th. Chicago, they did score. It's just that Chicago didn't score. How far back are we going to go here? Actually, I never noticed it when looking at Columbus. They've actually played a lot of good teams. Buffalo, which is maybe a lower end, they scored a lot. Detroit, they got up to 6 the last time they played against them. It looks like, Montreal 3-1. Couldn't score against Montreal. It looks more often than not, though, when they play a team that is not very good, Arizona 6-3, it goes over. And Anaheim's defense, so I would definitely look to the over on this game. As far as the who wins, I mean, Anaheim's on a back-to-back, so Columbus is at home. We'll just take Columbus. I don't think Columbus is on a back. Columbus didn't play yesterday, did they? Oh, wait, neither did Anaheim. So neither one of them are on a back-to-back. Gibson and net. I don't know. Like I said, I think it can go either way. I would maybe even consider the draw. When I'm going back and forth on a side like that, it's probably a good idea to throw in a draw. Florida versus Montreal. Montreal is on a heater lately. I would just go the over. Florida is an over team, and it's 8-2 to the over for this game. Florida's been on the road for a long time. Montreal has been surprising teams as of late. Florida has the most to play for in this game. So Florida was at Colorado, went home. Yeah, this is 3 games in 4 nights for Florida. I think 4 games in 6, all on the road. Coming off a loss against Toronto that was kind of heartbreaking. And Montreal just beat Winnipeg. And who else did they beat? They just came off of beating a couple teams now. New York Rangers 2-1. Oh yeah, that was in New York. Barely got that one. Lost to the Islanders, beat Nashville, lost to Seattle 4-0. Beat Winnipeg, who was in a really bad spot. It was a look-ahead spot. They were looking ahead to Toronto. I don't know. My gut says Florida wins this. My gut says Florida wins this. What kind of odds are we getting on there? Even though it's 3 games in 4 nights. Oh, -1. -2 something? No, I don't like that. I would just lay off the side, I think, and just take Florida. Or just take the over in that game. Boston versus the Rangers. Hard not to take Boston, isn't it? 3 games in 4 nights. It doesn't seem to matter what the spots are with this team. I probably am not going to touch this game. With Shesterkin and Allmarkin, I think it's going to be Swayman. I would probably lean the under, but I don't think I'm going to touch it. I don't want to step in front of Boston. Rangers have a better spot for sure. They should have more legs than Boston. But Boston legs never seem to stop. They never seem to stop. Who do I got in here now? Oh, it's just me. Chicago, Philadelphia. I'm going to keep rolling with Philly. And I don't really like the. I should change these to American odds. I always forget that. Oh, yeah, here, filters. American. I should change that to American. There. That'll make it easy. Minus 224 is what I don't like. Chicago has been just on a bit of a winning streak, but I just don't want to. I think Philadelphia is a much more structured team than Chicago, with Chicago being on the road. I get the feeling that they're not even thinking about tanking or anything like that with Tortorella there. Hart is better at home. Apparently he's going to be in. He's been a little shaky as of late. Chicago gives you pause though for their recent form. 1-6 in their last 7 games against Philadelphia. Chicago is, and 0-9 in their last 9 when playing on the road against Philadelphia. They just haven't played Philadelphia well at all. They have played their last 2 games to the over, and they have been scoring a little more as of late. But before that, they beat Colorado, they beat Calgary, and they beat Arizona. Wins are wins, not all that impressive of wins. If we look at Philadelphia now, they just beat Anaheim. Not much to say about that after getting spanked all the crap by Boston. Before that, they beat Washington twice in Buffalo. Lost to Toronto. They've been kind of, they beat LA. They've been kind of feeding on the poor here. And I think they just keep on doing that against Chicago myself, especially if Mrazek is going to be in, and it sounds like he probably is. I'll take Philadelphia in regulation, and I'll kind of look at Philadelphia scored 5 against Anaheim, 6 against Boston, 5 against Washington, 4 against Buffalo. Like lately, they've been able to pot them. So I would lean the over, but I think I like Philadelphia most of all. I caught when I had Philadelphia. Oh, that Anaheim game, I had lots on that. I thought for sure they were going to be all over Anaheim that game. They're a better team than they get credit for. I mean, they're well put together, or they play a system really well. And Tortorella is always awesome at that. In Chicago, I can't really say that. I think it's starting to come around with Richardson, but I'll take Philadelphia's system over Chicago's right now just to win that game, especially at home. And with the fact that the trend is like all in Philadelphia's favor there. Toronto versus Winnipeg. After that loss to Montreal, where they were obviously looking ahead to Toronto, to me that showed a lot of lack of character, to tell you the honest truth. And Winnipeg has been on the road for a little bit. I'm not going to put a lot on it, and I'd only do it in the money line, but I think I'm going to go Toronto here. But more than that, I like the under 6.5. Is it moved to a 6? It's moved to a 6. It was a 6.5. I should have played it then. Anyways, I'll still go under 6. You're getting plus money on that now, which isn't bad. Elliot, how you doing, buddy? New York Islanders, Buffalo. I'm taking Buffalo. Islanders can't score, man. They can't score. Buffalo should be the tonic that fixes that, but on a back-to-back, maybe they got to break out. What are they, like 3 for their last 15 or so? Their power play is gone. They can't score on anybody. They're on a back-to-back. Buffalo, it's hard to back them. That loss against Chicago was abysmal. Like, you can't lose that game, man. You can't lose that game. But this is a young team that seems to have a hard time staying central. Dallas killed you last night. I had the over on that game, Elliot. That was my play on that game. That was easy for me, Elliot. And I didn't get to talk to you. I had Edmonton over Seattle. The more I thought about it, the more I was like, how does any team win in that spot? I don't care who you are. Even Boston. How do you win in that? 7 games on the road, 1 day off, play a game, and then play a back-to-back to boot off of a 7-game Eastern road trip? That is ridiculous scheduling. Ridiculous. I should have put my mortgage on that game. But why did it have to be Edmonton? Like, I don't trust Edmonton. If it was any other team, like if it was Arizona, I would have put more money on that. If it was like just about any other team, I would have just smashed the shit out of that. But Edmonton, they can drop the ball against anyone, anytime. Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, I mean, I like Buffalo. What are you getting? Is it 6? I don't know. I'm not going to touch that total. I'm not going to touch any total. I would put under because is Buffalo going to score that many goals on Sorokin? And the Islanders, maybe against Buffalo they can score 2. Maybe. They're on a back-to-back on the road. They haven't scored with the shit as of late. I think the Sabres have been going back and forth on the road, though, haven't they? Yeah, a little bit back and forth on the road, but the Sabres are not a good home team. Rangers game under, yeah. Yeah, I already put that in. Nashville game under, I didn't get in at 6.5. But yeah, I like the under on that too. But I would say under on the Islanders Buffalo game at 6. Nashville, St. Louis, I agree under. I agree under. Saros is just, when he's on a roll like this, and he'll be in, it's impossible to score. Nashville is not great at scoring. So that sounds like an under to me. Sounds like a draw, too. That's my draw play of the day, I think. That smells like a draw all day. Like 2-2, something like that. Could go either way. I don't like either team. Is there any trend that makes me lean one way or the other? They're 7-3 to the over, but I don't care about that trend. Slightly lean Nashville. I just don't like St. Louis's defense, and I'll take Saros over Binnington all day long. What about scheduling spot? The thing I don't like about it for Nashville is that this is one of those go on the road and go back home games. It's so, like, imagine you got to go, you're at home, you got to fly to St. Louis, play the game, pack up, go back home again. It's just a lot going on there. You're taking the draw there too? Good. We'll see if we get her. Sounds like a draw to me. St. Louis will probably outshoot them. Saros will stop everything. Nashville will pot one and be like, 1-1 going into the second. Or no, 1-1 going into the third. And then Nashville pots one early in the third. And St. Louis finally gets to Saros with like 7 to 5 minutes left. And then they both play for the draw. There you go. And we get the under. And Nashville wins in overtime 3-2. Because I'd rather, just because of goaltender. Sorry, even if it goes to a shootout, even more so. Not an in shootout. Nashville wins in the shootout because St. Louis can't score on Binnington or Saros. I mean, all right, Washington, Arizona, Arizona or nothing. Kemper will be in net under 6.5. I like that. Oh man, it's a 6. I don't think Washington hasn't been scoring all that much ever since they got their new guys in there. I wouldn't put it. I never put a lot on. 4-2. Actually, no, that's not true. The Islanders were 4-3. I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I just don't like the game. Washington could wake up this game. If Washington like I've been saying this all along, if a team really, really wants it, they're going to beat Arizona if they don't undervalue them in some way. Washington's had a tendency to undervalue teams, but maybe another draw again when I'm bouncing back and forth on these things. Maybe another draw, but I don't like. I'm not playing. I'm not playing this game. I don't like it. I don't like it. Washington could trounce them if Washington decides if they decide they're going to play that game, they could just destroy Arizona. Arizona can outwork any team, and Washington has been known to be outworked. So. Washington's 3 in their last, and I'm certainly not laying that price on a team that is under 500 in their last. What did they? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 3 in their last 8. Maybe I'll just put a sprinkle on Arizona for the hell of it, just because it's plus money. What are they giving? I'm taking Washington at minus 192. No, not a freaking chance. Plus 150 on Arizona. Just throw half a unit on it and see if it works out for you. No way am I putting. I mean, how did they deserve that? Plus 205 actually. How do they deserve that with the way they played the last 8 games? No way I'm touching that. Tampa, Edmonton. I don't like the spot for Tampa. I don't trust Edmonton. Still don't trust Edmonton. But if I'm just play the over and move on, I'll take Edmonton. I lean Edmonton, but if that's not an over, not much you can do about it. I guess the trend is over for Tampa, Edmonton. Edmonton is over every game. The thing is, if Edmonton comes out and rests on their laurels, which they're known to do, all of a sudden they think they're good and they'll just go out and then this will be under and Tampa will win. If Edmonton plays, Edmonton should be able to try to run and gun with Tampa here. Tampa's not going to have the legs on a back-to-back. They're an older team. They've been on the road for quite a while. They should there's no reason at all that Edmonton can't skate these guys out of the rink tonight. No reason at all. So I'll probably live bet it. If Edmonton comes out flying like I know they can, then I'll throw some on there. And I'll play the over now and maybe a little more live. New Jersey, Seattle. I still hate this spot for Seattle. Let's go over this, okay? Let's go over what Seattle has had to do. It is just absurd. I won't go all the way back, but okay, there was 3 games before this road trip. The 3 games on the road: Montreal, Buffalo, Boston, Chicago, day off. All in the East, all changing time zones, all travel, all the shit. Then a back-to-back against Tampa and Edmonton, 3 games, another day off, and then New Jersey. Like, New Jersey's also been on the road for a long time as well, but I think they'll have more legs. I'm taking New Jersey here. I just, it's ridiculous. If Seattle wins in this spot, great. Good for you, man. I will raise them to the rafters in Pearlo land, and we'll all sit in awe of their amazement. It's a terrible, ridiculous spot that no team should have to go through. And then they have a day off and play Colorado. Like, they could lose 4 in a row here. So their 7-game road trip is pretty much defeated. It's a stupid spot. I got to take New Jersey. I think, could I even be lucky enough to get plus money on New Jersey here? No. Okay. I don't know if New Jersey should be that minus 127, but yeah, doesn't matter. New Jersey's had their own issue. Like, they're on a Western road trip right now. Finished off in San Jose, had 2 days off. Usually this last game of the Western road trip, I bet I take Seattle every time, but this spot for Seattle is horrid. Absolutely horrid. Bad for New Jersey, horrid for Seattle. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. Whoever did the scheduling on this, man, if I was an owner or whatever, I'd be losing my shit on them. For sure. That's terrible. As far as the total, I don't know it's not much of a trend. New Jersey should come out flying. If they understand the scheduling spot for Seattle, they should come out flying in this one. So they'll set the pace. I could see I mean, for plus money, I could see an over the way both of these teams are scoring. I could see it. I'm not sure. I don't think I'll play the total. I could see Seattle's legs just fall right off and this end up being 4-0 too. What's your fave today, Elliot? One thing I gotta say is it's amazing that Seattle doesn't have any more injuries than they do after playing all of these games. It's pretty crazy. So they won. Okay, what are they? Anaheim, San. See, it's the 4th game of that Western road trip for them, but they've crushed everybody. It's actually a bad spot for New Jersey too, because this is easily like, oh, the road trip is over. They've crushed everybody. You know, it's a letdown spot for New Jersey, no doubt about that. But it's a horrible spot for Seattle. I could just see Seattle trying to trap their way into a win here. New Jersey, yeah, I could see that. I could see, I would actually lean under the more I think about it. I would probably lean under. Dallas, Los Angeles. Dallas played last night. They fell apart against San Jose at the end. To me, that means their legs are falling off of them. I think they've had some brutal scheduling things too. I was looking at this. Dallas has had a brutal schedule recently, I'm pretty sure. And I didn't pay attention to that enough. But I guess I caught it now, so that's good. Yeah, they went go further back here. We'll go to January 2nd, beginning of this month. They had 2 games on the road, 3 days off, played against Florida. Then two games on the road, came home for Calgary. And then 3 games on the road. I mean, it's not horrible, but they haven't been home for a long time. Like home. They come home for a night and that's it. Like they haven't had a time when they've been home for a bit. And I'm pretty sure they're going home to Arizona to play Arizona after this at home. And I think they have an extended home trip here. Yeah, they're going to be home for like a week. I could easily see them just not being focused on this game. You think about this, if you're a player, especially if you're a millionaire player, and you got a family or girlfriend or whatever, and you just did a long stretch where you were barely home, you got her making up plans on what you're gonna do when you get home, and we gotta do this and that, and you've been on the road for a long time, and you're thinking ahead. Maybe you've got family issues at home, and now you're gonna have to go deal with them. All that kind of stuff like that. That's why in these spots, it's like this happens a lot where it would have been, I'd be more inclined, like it wasn't that bad of a road trip too. It was sort of a successful road trip. And it wasn't just a road trip. They were at home and back and forth and all that. I just have a feeling that they could be looking ahead here quite a bit. And already started with San Jose. Now, because they faltered against San Jose, that could give them a little focus here, but the problem is they're playing against LA now. I mean, and I believe LA is pretty rested. Oh, shit, yeah, 3 days. Yeah, I'll take LA. I'll take LA, and I believe Wedgwood is going to be in there for Dallas as well. Even more wants me to take LA. And probably, I mean, they're not going back to Quick. Oh, I'd love it if they went back to Quick. I would slam the over here. Please, 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 McClellan, try to do one of those things where you want to build the confidence up a Quick and give it, because you're going to need them, and you don't want him to get shellacked, so you're going to put him back in net to give him confidence. It won't work because Quick is ass, but it's projected Phoenix Copley. Even then, I still take the over. And I probably take LA minus 0.5 first period. Wedgwood is struggled as of late. It really has. He hasn't been good. LA has been scoring a lot. Team total over for LA, maybe? lost to New Jersey. Before that, though, yeah, they were scoring like a motherfucker. 5-1, 6-3 Edmonton. I mean, it's not hard to do that. San Jose is pretty easy over team. Colorado, 4 on Vegas. Coming off a loss against New Jersey. Yeah. I don't know if I'll go team total over, but I think LA will be the pick here. So let's go over what we got, shall we? Because Elliot came in late. You'd be going to the Pearlo's house of spanking, Elliot. Oh, wait a sec. I know why you came in late. You were cheating on me with what's their names there? Who was on there today? What the hell? How come I can't remember? I can't remember anything right now. I can't remember anything right now. What's the name of that? So easy. Such an easy one. But I can't remember anyways. You're cheating on me over there. So Minnesota, Carolina. I lead Carolina. Something tells me Minnesota can win that game. I do like the under. It's just a tough under at 5.5. I liked it at 6. Columbus, Anaheim. I mean, I don't like either team. Usually these young teams, when they play each other, it's pond hockey, so it could be an over. Florida, Montreal. I think Florida is more determined than Montreal in this game. Montreal's been doing well. But that loss against Toronto, if they would have beat Toronto, I'd probably look at Montreal here. And Montreal has been playing, decent. This is the thing. Montreal hasn't been playing well. The other teams playing Montreal have played like shit. That's the thing. Winnipeg just played like absolute garbage. And it's not because Montreal played really well. I don't think Florida is going to play like garbage here. They have been on the road for a long time. But over. I will go over. Montreal has been scoring more as of late. Looks like they got their mojo offensively going on. Molten Bull's had some good games, okay? But do you trust Molten Bull to have a good game all the time? And Florida's scoring against, even when they're losing, they're scoring, right? Yeah, they lost to Toronto 5-4. They beat Buffalo 4-1. The only team that they haven't scored against, 2 teams they haven't scored against in the last little while has been Dallas and Vegas. Colorado, they were scoring. So maybe team total over 3.5. Let's just rely on the fact that Montreal's defense is still super young, still pretty shitty on paper. But the thing is look at they've only allowed 1 goal in 3 straight games. So is that going to hold up? When they played against the Islanders couldn't score on my mom right now. That Rangers game, yeah, they played pretty well. And Winnipeg was so looking ahead to Toronto, it was ridiculous. But Florida scores like a mother. So I would lean the over. Anyways, I was just supposed to go a recap here, and now I'm going back over my picks all the time. Boston versus Rangers. I'm not getting in front of Boston. Boston may win it. I would think the under, even though it's a 5.5. Chicago, Philadelphia. I like Philadelphia, and I'm leaning to the over. Winnipeg, Toronto. I think Toronto. I think when I see teams look ahead like Winnipeg did against Chicago, I usually like to pick them. But in that instance, it almost seems. Here's the thing about that game. I didn't talk about this either. Just like if you're going to go on holidays, Winnipeg is full of Toronto players. If I bring up Winnipeg here. Because Winnipeg always tries to find players from Toronto because it's a short trip to Toronto from Winnipeg. So, and they have a hard time finding people who want to live in Winnipeg. And if you don't know why, you've never been to Winnipeg. I hate to say that, but it's true. If you've ever been to Winnipeg, as soon as you get off the plane, especially in like January, you'd be like, oh, this is why. Right. Okay. From Halifax, he would have been a Toronto fan. Mark Scheifele's from Toronto. Cole Perfetti's from Toronto. He's from Whitby, Ontario, from that area. I believe Adam Lowry is. No. He's from St. Louis. Oh, he's American? I didn't know that. Anyways, they got a whole crap load of guys from the Toronto area. So, but in this case, I think their look ahead is a distraction because I think what they were doing is trying to see their friends and they're getting all their tickets and everything like that. And they're going to go into Toronto, and Toronto is driven right now to win. I just think Toronto's in a driven place. I would like the under though. Is it still 6.5? No, it dropped to a 6.2. Shit, I got to get on these earlier. Nashville, St. Louis under 6. And I lean Nashville. And the draw. Washington, Arizona. Take Arizona. Well, I wouldn't touch Washington at that price. I'll take Arizona. Tampa Bay, Edmonton. I lean Edmonton and over. New Jersey, Seattle. I like New Jersey. And I'm going to say under. That's right. I said under. Oh, I missed Detroit, Vegas in all of this. Vegas. I'll take Vegas. And I'll lean under. All right. That's my full 42. I got to get going here. It was fun being with y'all. That's my, I'll catch you possibly tomorrow when I feel like 8 o'clock, like usual. And if I don't, I don't. If I do, I do. But head over to BPAL Picks. Just search it, BPAL Picks. Even just to look at the site and see what it's all about. And you can get your daily fix there at bpalpicks.com. All my picks. Have a great day, everybody. Okay, bye.